Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next installment of the Friday the 13th films on the next review of Halloween month. And next up, we're into the third entry, Final the 13th, Part 3. This time it's what was called In 3D, and around the time in the 80s when they were releasing like horror films like in 3D, like I said, Jaws 3, Amityville in 3D, and including this one. This one, and once again, Steve Miner, who directed Part 2, comes back to direct the film. Like I said, he also directed Halloween H2O, Lake Placid, House, and the piece of shit Day of the Dead remake. But this is another good sequel. This one I enjoyed. This one I enjoyed too. Of course, this is the film where we introduce Jason with his famous hockey mask. And Harry Manfredini comes back to do the score. And I like the score, especially when the intro, when also playing during the credits too. I like that. That's cool. So I like that as part of the score. And it takes place it takes place after the events of the second film. And which is kind of funny that like at the end of part 2 we got like cut down the shoulder though, but I guess somehow he doesn't have that injury anymore. But he guess he goes to he finds himself a new set of clothes. He's wearing different clothes now, and of course we get the ending of the second film before we get into the third film. And in the third film, there's this grocery store, or the small store, where this guy named Harold, he's eating stuff from his own store, and he has his bunny as well. And one part is where he's just, in the toilet with the next he opens the door, then he gets a meat cleaver in his chest, and then his wife gets a knitting needle through the back of her head, and then we get a whole bunch of, and of course the whole thing throughout the whole film, we get the things where the 3D shots are being put in, like the next shot where there's a kid, they're playing baseball and the baseball bat's right in front of the camera, or other things they're supposed to go in front of the camera to create the 3D effects. And you have Dana Kimmell as Chris. Now, as for the lead lady in the Friday the 13th films, I think Amy Steele is still better than Dana Kimmell, because Amy Steele, I just had the presence to her, but Dana Kimmell, she was not that bad. She wasn't horrible, but I just prefer Amy Steele more. And they have all these other characters. The name of Debbie, who we found that the character is pregnant, and you have Andy. Then you have like the comedic guy named Shelly, who's like doing like pranks and stuff, and any other this hippie couple, and this other girl Vera, which Shelly likes. And they're on the way to this part. It's not really like Camp Crystal Lake, but it's a place that Chris goes to on vacation. And then they drive past to see the medics and police go to the place where the grocery store guy was killed and the wife. And it's also funny, like I mentioned, like I forgot to mention, before the wife and the store owner got killed, like the wife was listening to the news about the murders for the second film, and it talks about Amy Steele. She's being taken away, but they don't mention about Paul or anything. They don't say about the body count, because I don't think he was not part of the body count, because it said like 8, and it's like until 8 people were killed, and they don't mention about Paul's character. John Fury's character, his name is Paul, and nothing about that. So that guy just disappeared at the ending of the second film, and no mention of him in this film either. So, and anyway, as they get there, like this whole thing was Chris, like she was attacked on the lake and supposed by somebody, of course, figure out as Jason, but like Shelly, like he like pulls a prank, but like pretends that he's dead, but that and gets everybody mad. But he's like that's like one thing, the things he's good at doing though. And he goes into town to get some groceries with Vera, and they run into trouble with three bikers. And the lead biker guy named Ali, played by Nick Savage. He's actually the guy this is in '82, and 3 years later he starred in 1985. He went to star in Fright Night. He has like a cameo appearance as one of the bouncers in that nightclub where Chris Sarandon, it shows him like the eyes and the claws, and he's like yeah, calling for the other guy, and Chris Sarandon wipes him, like cuts him on the neck and throws him. That's Nick Savage. He was in that little role of the bouncer in Fright Night, and he has a role of the biker here in this film. And I like Nick Savage. He did good. I liked him. And they were gonna giving Shelly and Vera some trouble. Then Shelly actually runs into their bikes. That pisses him off, and he gets his chain and breaks through the windshield and window. And Shelly's like, you know what? He went too far, so he tries to run him over. And he's like, yeah. And Shelly, the guy who plays Shelly, Larry Zerner, I liked him. These guys like tries to get everybody to like him. Making attention and trying to get girl Vera to like him. He does a little something about trying to show off the bikers too, and he's the one who also carries the famous hockey mask, which when Jason kills and takes it. So. And when the bikers, they were gonna burn down the barn, the female of the biker named Fox, she's like pulling like on top of the barn, like swinging on the ropes, and the other guy, Loco, sees that she's been hung by a pitchfork out through the neck, and then Jason comes up and stabs him with a pitchfork, and his body then falls on Ali, and he sees he's dead, and he sees Jason come down. He was gonna fight him with a machete. He's like, guess he like looks at his face, sees his face, like, oh shit, and then takes a swing, and then misses, takes a swing at him. Then Jason hits him, I guess with a club. I guess he hits him in the face a couple of times, but that didn't kill him because he's still alive by the end of the film though. I guess he like hits him with a club for a couple times in the face. And it's like I said, like very once in a straightforward. The rest of the game, they just getting killed off one by one. Like next person to go is by the time it's later in the night, and I think it's when Vera, because Shelly scares her, because he has a spear, and he's wearing the hockey mask, and Shelly, he walks into the barn, and then finally later he gets his throat cut. And I said I liked him because I liked this character. He was trying to get attention, trying to get everybody to like him, but he dies though, sadly. But with Vera, he drops his wallet in the water. He sees someone else wearing the hockey mask, takes that spear gun that Shelly had and shoots her right in the eye. And I like that. And Jason Voorhees, played by Richard Brooker. Sadly, now Richard Brooker, he's now passed away. Sadly though, back in 2013, I think. And I think Richard Brooker, I like the guy who played Jason in the second film, but I think this one he played a really good Jason Voorhees. Richard Brooker, may he rest in peace. He played a good Jason Voorhees, and he's just like walking like casual. Like I like that he's just after like he shoots the girl in the spear, he just like drops the spear gun. He's like turns and walks casually to the house, and the guy who's with the girl Debbie, who he says is pregnant. He's like doing handstands. Then Jason takes the machete, and just cuts the. That's another. That's a memorable death. That's the best death of the movie. Is he's doing the hand stuff and he's upside down, sees him, and Jason Voorhees just cuts him right down the middle with the machete. Best death of the film. Like most like I say, like a lot of each of the films have a very memorable death in each film. Like the first film, Kevin Bacon's death to me. Second film was the guy in the wheelchair, machete to the face, and this one just handstand, gets cut down the middle. And then Debbie, she's reading a Fangoria magazine on the hammock. She looks up, sees him above, and then Jason does like his mother did in the first film with Kevin Bacon, stabbed right from underneath. And one of the ballsy things that he kills a pregnant woman because she said she was pregnant. He killed a handicapped guy in a wheelchair in the second film. He just goes and kills a girl who was pregnant. That's messed up, like a guy in a wheelchair and then a pregnant woman. And as for next was the two hippies, the guy who looks like a hippie. He goes and checks the fuse box. Jason just goes and throws him right into the fuse box, gets electrocuted. And then the other girl finds Shelley with his throat slit, but she thought that he was faking it. But when he puts him more, he falls down dead. And she gets like a hot poker right through her. And then when Chris and Rick, they come and they're looking for everybody. And I like how Jason tries to be like really sneaky, where he has the guy Rick. He has his mouth shut to keep him from screaming. Now wait until she gets inside. Then he goes and crushes his head, and of course you get the 3D effect where the eye pops out. Still, and then his body gets tossed through the window. Jason goes after her. She hides in a closet and finds the body of Debbie and pulls a knife out of her when Jason starts axing through the door and she stabs in the hand. You hear him screaming in pain, like, "Oh!" And then she's like waving the knife at him and then stabs him in the leg and he screams some more, like, "Oh! Oh!" And this is like with Jason, like when he was human, because by the time we go to part 6, he's not anymore. Basically, he's walking zombie corpse. But here he's screaming in pain when he gets stabbed, and when he's chasing after her, he's like limping because he got stabbed in the leg. And when she's driving the van, he stands in the middle of the road. Usually, a lot of times in horror films, when they stand in the middle of the road, the person goes and floors, and the person just stands there or waiting to be hit. But no, like Jason, he's in the middle of the road. He goes and just jumps out of the way to avoid being hit. And then there's this scene right here where the van stalls and she reaches her through the window and she rolls it up and he crashes right through the window. And then when she goes into the barn, she hides, and Jason gets a smart idea to barricade the door so she can't get out. And he's searching the whole barn, and when they're on the top of the barn, she hits him with a shovel and knocks him out. She puts the thing to hang him. And when she opens the door, he's still alive, and he lifts his sees his deformed face and is like, "It's you!" And he's like smiling like And then when Ali, he's still alive. Basically, he was there for to be another victim, because although I would like to see him fight Jason more, because I liked him. He was knocked out, but then he comes back at the end. He was gonna fight Jason some more, but sadly not. moment he comes back, he gets his hand cut off, and Jason just hits him with a machete to make sure he's really dead. Although a part of me would like him survive, and that because so I liked him and have like 2 survivors, but still, he was there to get killed. He was there to get killed though, so I would like to see him fight Jason some more though. But then while he was distracted, Chris, she gets the axe and hits him right in the head, and he's doing like this, reaching out for the more of the 3D effect, and then he just drops down dead. And then where she goes out on the lake, and this is like this play on the first film, where instead of Jason, it's Mrs. Voorhees goes and pops out of the lake and drags her down, but it's the dream sequence, and she gets laughing. She's like laughing hysterically as she's being put into the cop car. So, but Friday the 13th Part 3, I enjoy Part 3. Another good sequel. And let's say this one, like, it's like I like the third one better than the second film. Like, I did the second film better than the first one. First film is a classic. Second film was a good sequel. This one I liked a bit more than the second film. And plus, and when it was released, of course, it got more like the previous two. Got negative reviews. Has a much lower rating. It's a 5.79 dB. Has a 12% of Rotten Tomatoes. But still, it was a hit on about 2 million. It made about 36 million. It made more than the second film. So it was a hit, and it became number 1 on its weekend. And during the summer of '82, E.T. was making all the E.T. the extraterrestrial. It was making all the money, and it was like how many weeks in a row until Friday the 13th was number 1 for that one weekend, and then until the next weekend after that, E.T. was back to be number 1. So he dethroned E.T. for one weekend, then until E.T. rerouted back to make more money on more weekends. Because I guess people were excited to see Part 3 over that weekend for the 3D effect as well. But yes, Steve Miner, he did a good job once again directing. The score, I enjoy the score once again, made by Harry and Manfredini. Wow, I just said it. I had this happen when I say the name correctly, then later on during the review I just mess it up. Manfredini, there you go. Manfredini. I enjoy the score, especially the word vibe to it on the opening of the film, as well as the end credits. The running time is about the same time as the first film. The second film was much shorter, though, but this is being the same running time as the first film. It's still a good pace, though. Like Dana Kimmell, Amy Steele I liked more than her, but she wasn't that bad. But Amy Steele is still much stronger and a more likable female lead in the Friday the 13th films. But anything else though? I still enjoy Part 3. I really do. And Richard Brooker, Brooker, he did a good job as Jason Voorhees. May he rest in peace. And even though the film was much more negative review, this is the film that introduced Jason to his famous hockey mask. So it's one iconic scene right there. Like the second film introduced Jason, but in the second film with his hockey mask, and that's since he become a very recognizable with his hockey mask. So yeah. So that's my review for Part 3. Definitely enjoy this sequel as well. And it was released in 1982, so this year marks the 35th anniversary of Friday the 13th Part 2. So I forgot about that. It was released in 1982, so 35 years later, it's still a good sequel and probably to among many other fans of the franchise as well. So yeah. So 35th anniversary of Friday the 13th Part 3. Still a good solid sequel. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next entry in the franchise for Part 4, which is false though. the final chapter, which it's not, but still it's called that though. But yeah, so stay tuned. So stay tuned for the entry of part 4, and we'll see y'all later.